In today's episode, we're hoping underfueling the car in a wet race may be the key to kickstarting our season with Oscar Piastri. It's been a bit of a tough start to the season for him on that side of the garage, and equally so recently a tough time on the Antonelli side of the garage is, well, things got a bit too overheated between him and Max Verstappen, and there was a huge incident at Montreal. It was probably one of the wackiest races of the entire season, really, as we got side pod damage for the first time ever, I think, on the F1 game. Like, literally seeing that part of the car colored in on the heads-up display. And very surprisingly, it was Esteban Ocon and Ferrari that took a second victory of the season to top the standings. This is the same Ferrari that before this season had not won a single race, yet alas got on the podium since what, season 3, early in season 3. So pretty remarkable turnaround now here in season 5. Of course, Ferrari were the back-to-back constructors champions in seasons 1 and 2. So going into the Red Bull ring here at the Austrian Grand Prix, a lot of question marks of who really are the teams we need to worry about for the championship. You know, at one point it looked like it was going to be all about Max Verstappen and McLaren, then Williams, Porsche, and now under the radar are Ferrari really the team we need to be worrying about as we enter a crucial race, needing to bounce back from a messy Canadian Grand Prix.
Hello everyone, welcome to Austria. It is a short track, it is high speed, it is exactly what we enjoy for qualifying.
The My Team car has always gone well around the Red Bull ring, but question marks about whether the Jaguar engine's going to change things. The drivability, we know, is a bit stiffer on the front end to get the nose turned in, but in a weird way, that might actually make things quite stable. And into turn 1, Q1, that is actually what is happening. I feel like it's a very stable platform, actually. So the, very stiff platform that this car has been might actually be an aid around Austria, because sometimes you get away, the lap time gets away from you around here, more so because you're trying to do too much and the car kind of starts to dance a little bit too much on the curbs. You know, obviously you're chucking it in so quickly into some of these corners in Sector 2, and it can snap away from you. So having a more stable platform with the drivability may be an aid, actually, because it's not really about getting the nose turned in. It's about carrying that mid-apex speed, especially on the heavier fuel levels. But Q1, a bit of a disaster class for Red Bull and Pierre Gasly. This man was leading most of Montreal. Then it unraveled, of course, for Pierre Gasly and Red Bull in that race. And also, last episode's one of the heroes of the story was Lance Stroll getting a podium in his home race for McLaren, whilst Verstappen obviously had that trip up with ourselves driving as Antonelli. He's out in Q1, so it's a crash back down to reality for Stroll and McLaren on that side of the garage. But yeah, Red Bull will be a bit disappointed with that, with Pierre Gasly, after it was an all-French affair early on in Montreal, and it was only Ocon standing then by the end, and Ocon just set a purple here in Q2 now. So genuinely, are Ferrari back? Are they on a roll now with some momentum? Well, the reigning champion Lando Norris has something else to say. He goes top, but then Antonelli goes quicker, showing we have some good pace around here. And surprisingly, to see a Renault of Zach O'Sullivan up there. Marty in the BWT Haas. Verstappen makes it through, thankfully for his sake, but it's unfortunate that Red Bull's day goes from bad to worse. Colapinto out, 13th place. What is going on there? Only like, what was it, 2-3 episodes ago, I was touting Red Bull to be a bit of a dark horse as long as they got their act together with their two drivers fighting each other too much, because the car itself was very quick. At one point, didn't they like nearly lead the constructors, I think, after like round 3 or 4, and now it's all of a sudden going a little bit backwards for them. They need to get on top of that in the race to kind of make up for things, but Ferrari going from strength to strength, both drivers in the top 10. But obviously we're just focused on ourselves here and trying to maximize things with Piastri. And individually, let's talk about this. In this race, not only are we trying to bounce back a little bit from that dismal race we had in Montreal with Antonelli, we're trying to bounce and kickstart Piastri's season as a whole, because we've just had some really messy, unfortunate races with him, and we've never really fully got a maximized race weekend, I feel, for Piastri's sake. We have with Antonelli, we've got that one race win, but we haven't done so with Oscar. And so far, I think this has been a pretty tidy lap, but the limit just pushed a little bit too much there. That small, quick snap of oversteer. We've actually done really well to hold that through, but we definitely lost at least 2/10, I would say, in that snap. It doesn't look as dramatic from the off-board cameras, but certainly on-board, when you re-watch it, it is a big snap. The rear end really gets away from us, and from the chase cam, it's actually more apparent how much our car was swinging about, really, honestly. So we did well to keep it going in a straight line, you know. With the amount of speed you carry in that corner, that could have easily been snapping left towards the runoff area, towards the wall, dare I say. So we've kept it in, and we can live to fight for another day where we're trying to gain more time in Sector 1, definitely taking turns 1 and the turns after a little bit quicker there as we gain 2/10 now through to that last part of the lap where we had a bit of an issue on that first flyer. Here in the top 10 shootout, no issue this time, and we're on for about half a second gained.
Could have been better, but I'll take P2, thanks everyone.
And as Piastri's radio says, that is enough for P2. We'll take it. We will take it. It's going to be Verstappen on pole position. So we maybe counted him out a little bit, but never count out the Dutchman as we're seeing in this weekend's real life Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But Verstappen definitely bouncing back from the mess in Montreal. Antonelli not so much. He's AI P9. After, we didn't do him justice around Canada, so a bit of a making up to do on his side of the garage. So this is a big open goal then for Verstappen to gain, but we're there, and I can say there is rain forecast for tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting with Norris behind and a pretty quick Williams Porsche as well, and the Ferraris ever present and consistent is the main thing this season.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg and to a circuit that in one form or the other has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Pepe Marti, Albon, Lawson, Antonelli, and Zach O'Sullivan. Sainz, Colapinto, Taylor Barnard and Maloney, Martins, Stroll, Paul Aaron, Gabriel Bortoletto, Solov, Gasly, Doohan and Jack Crawford rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me is Anthony Davidson. Well, this is the most advanced sport anywhere on the planet. How's it changed since you were last racing?
The cars have got bigger, they're heavier, but critically there's more downforce to play with as well now. There was about 4 tons of downforce on the car at 300 kilometers an hour when I drove. You're now looking more towards 5 tons of downforce. So there's a big difference in performance, but because of that, the car being heavier and bigger, you've got to drive in a smoother way. You've got to look after it a bit more. You've got to nurse it through the slow speed corners more. They were much more nimble, agile machines when I drove in Formula 1 compared to now.
So it is going to be a wet start to things here in the Red Bull Ring. We've got intermediates on, but it will be going to dry tyres eventually, looking at the forecast. But I think in a race like this, where we know on the game consistently, you do just save a lot more fuel in the wet conditions. You know, you're on the brakes a lot more, you're rolling the car in, saving that fuel whilst you're doing it. So like we said in Monaco, it just seems like the appropriate scenario to lower the fuel. It worked really well for us in Monaco. You know, obviously we got such an early red flag or safety car, wasn't it, in Monaco, that we didn't really maybe reap the massive benefits, but it clearly helped us initially off the line to get that overtake into turn 1. And if it could help us get that overtake into turn 1 here versus Verstappen, get that track position, or just in the first phase of this race in stint 1, let us pull away, and get away from the pack who are on a little bit higher fuel, then I want to take that chance, knowing that in these inters conditions we can bring back the lap of fuel that we're lowering it by, and then we'll see how the dry tire phase goes. Who knows how that's going to go, what tire compounds we're going to choose. That's the beauty of a wet to dry race. We don't really know what the strategy is going to be. It's going to be all about in the moment making those decisions. Seemingly we're the eager ones getting to the front row before Max, as the AI were too busy just going inside of each other for the last corner. It's the only way to really say it, but we're raring to go, and we've got one tough cookie to try and crack though in this opening phase of the Grand Prix. The run to turn 1 is a fairly decent one, so we've got a chance maybe as we go to lights out for the Austrian Grand Prix here in the Red Bull Ring, and Verstappen gets a really good getaway. Even with the lower fuel, we just can't quite get the exit, and instead we just play it calm, cool, collected, very much like one Oscar Piastri into turn 1 and just take second place. We're going to just go in single file with Verstappen. Meanwhile, behind there is fighting going on between Tsunoda and Lando Norris. The Williams Porsche down the inside of the Silver Arrow Ferrari, close in behind of Ocon. Movement going on down below. Antonelli flip-flopping with the Lawson and Sainz. O'Sullivan gets pushed down just outside the top 10, and both Red Bulls needing a big comeback, as it's still Tsunoda versus Lando Norris for third place, and it looks like the Williams may just get outdone on traction, as it doesn't look too wet out there on the replay cameras, you've got to say, the off-board cameras, so maybe the dry period may be coming sooner rather than later. But right now we are just in the hunt of Verstappen, and both of us are pulling away from the rest of the pack. So even though we didn't get the jump on Verstappen initially, we are using that lower fuel to our advantage to get away from the pack behind. And clearly, I mean, look at this acceleration. That's really something. I don't think we've got that much more traction than the McLaren. I think that's the lower fuel giving us the advantage out the corner to go on the outside. Verstappen comes across. It's a tiny bit of contact. We're trying to wrestle for grip, use the battery and get down the inside. We bang tyres. Verstappen's still there though, and he does amazingly to keep his foot planted the entire way through Sector 2. We're side by side, and Verstappen gives us a little love tap for good measure, and we have to tuck in for second place. But I think off that Sector 1 corner, that traction was not normal, and what we've seen on the game so far, especially in Inters, the AI are pretty good. I think this is that lower fuel giving us that slight edge on those slower corners as we're gaining on Verstappen again. We go from right to left on the outside of turn 1. We're going to be neck and neck on the exit. We actually get the jump on the Dutchman. We're into first place for a moment, because Verstappen gets right back through that McLaren pretty decent in a straight line, and just has the edge as we didn't want to over-deploy battery. We've only got 17%, but look at the... Oh, I'm sorry. The acceleration out of there is ungodly. Oh, I am loving this decision we've made on the fuel right now. It's single-handedly probably allowing us to fight Verstappen this hard. To be honest, in hindsight now, we didn't lower that fuel. I think Max could have been running away with this, and it could have been like a story from round 1 in the Australian Grand Prix where Verstappen just ran away with the win and dominated things. That could have been the case here today, but that has got us back into the fight. Is Antonelli still only P9 behind Liam Lawson? Not too much movement from Paul Aaron as well, was another car that we didn't mention that had to make a recovery drive. So one Williams Porsche, both Red Bull Fords, way out the points and needing a lot more, as we're asking for the weather report, and they are saying it is going to get to dry soon, but it might get to dry sooner for us with the safety car out, and there's a big crash with O'Sullivan in the Renault, and that's going to cause a little bit of a pile-up. There's a lot of debris there. So with the safety car out, I'm just thinking, is there any chance we can come in for a gamble onto dries now or by the end of the safety car period? I'm asking.
Start thinking about slicks. Let's hold on to the Inters for a little while longer.
Okay, Mark thinks we should hold on to the Inters a little while longer. I'm just wary and looking behind me, because before that safety car came out, he did say we're a few, minutes away probably from the rain stopping. But no AI are coming in. I'm looking constantly behind me, trying to stay in the Delta time. So no one's coming in right now. But if this safety car period goes long enough, You know, obviously it's going to be for 2 laps, usually is on the F1 game, but if that's enough to get the rain to stop, because I'm being told info about the weather continuously here and the tyres, if it's enough, is there a chance maybe we almost bail onto the dries, like straight after the safety car comes in? Like, not even going for a racing lap, I wonder. This is a tough one. I'm going very slow here on purpose to try and catch the safety car. Just honestly because, in my mind, if I slow us down within legal limits of this, obviously you have to stay behind the safety car near enough. If we can slow things down and just delay this restart enough, could we get to the dry period? That's what I'm doing right now because the safety car's in. I'm controlling the pace now.
Time being, conditions look good. We're not certain which is the best tyre right now, dries or inters.
It's touch and go. It's officially touch and go.
Interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got for now.
Okay, ultimately, Mark thinks we should stick with inters. It looks dry. It looks like it could be slicks right now. I've got fuel to save, and I actually forgot to put this into lean mixture. So we've still got half a lap less of fuel to finish this race. So that's not a negative, that's a positive of we'll have that extra bit of acceleration. I'm weaving about, slowing up the pack, just trying to delay this restart as much as we can. I'm still deciding if I'm going to come in or not. Ultimately, Mark again tells me there that it's still inters. I'm gonna carry on. I'm gonna carry on, and I'm gonna hope that no one else is gonna come in and use that gamble that I was, you know, maybe gonna go for. No one comes in. Okay, at least we're all in the same boat. The worst thing that could have happened there was that I'm the only one that makes that gamble, and in a race where we're leading, we've got a good chance to really kickstart Piastri's season. I don't want to fumble this because he deserves, as a driver, to have one actual race where we maximize everything as we go defensive with Verstappen, get the elbows out and kind of give him his own taste of his own medicine on the outside. How many times have we seen Verstappen push a driver out there on that right-hander? And as we squirrel away for grip, I think surely at the end of this lap, we're coming in now. I was tempted before, and now I think it is a given as we have a big snap over oversteer. We have to go defensive against the McLaren. We're all bunching up. It's definitely time. It's definitely time.
Turning, we think it's time to box now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Mark thinks it as well, and there it pops up on the heads-up display. In hindsight, actually now, thinking about it, we really could have come in probably, because when the game tells you and the engineer tells you it's time to come in, it's always maybe half a lap too late. So we're in now, and there's some cars staying out. I think some cars What? The 2 Ferraris have stayed. Antonelli stayed. I was about to mock Ferrari for a silly decision to stay out. Antonelli has stayed out. Our own teammate is going on for another lap on inters as we're in. Thankfully, we're at the end of the pit lane, so we don't get caught up in anything. Maybe that's why Antonelli and Ferraris did not want to come in, because there's a high chance you get caught up if everyone is into the pit lane. Then you are going to get some double stacks and some funny business. And as we come out the pit lane, very, very iffy on the rear end, I gotta say. The track grip is very much not there yet. It's a little bit slippery still. And into that right-hander, we've got no grip really on the brakes, trying to get the nose turned in. We're on mediums, by the way. Verstappen's on hards, and a lot of other people, I think, on hard tyres. So are they trying to go to the end? Do they just want to go on a more durable tyre? I just thought, let's go to mediums, because lap 9, I think we have to make another pit stop. So we may as well try and go medium maybe, because we've got 2 mediums to use, I believe. And obviously now that it's rained, there's no rule about using 2 different compounds. And it looks like medium might be the right decision just based on the track grip alone, because look at the time gaps as we're looking through the entire grid. I'm already 2.8 seconds ahead of Verstappen because my mediums are gripping up better than the hards, and it's a very slippery circuit still. It's not dry enough to have optimum grip levels. As Ocon comes out, we're gonna slide our way through turns 1, and we nearly go sideways on the sausage curb, and we just narrowly come out in P1 still. So I mocked Ferrari a little bit and was puzzled at Antonelli's decision to stay out for another lap on inters. You can see there, I only just about survived that. Ocon could have got the lead with the overcut, and Antonelli has overcut people. people. Antonelli, all of a sudden, no longer P9. He's P4 because he stayed out that extra lap. And that just shows how slippery it still was, that those guys who stayed out for another lap, the two Ferraris, Antonelli, they actually gained time on that extra intermediate lap. So even though I thought we could have come a lap earlier, it actually was still greasy enough. So just shows you can never really tell in the F1 game. It's so hard, especially, you know, since F1 23, you know, the graphics for when it's wet have just never correlated with how much grip there's been. There's always been a bit of a discrepancy there, so you just really can't tell. As Verstappen, though, look at this, going for a ballsy move. Oh, my Lord. That is really surprising. From an AI on AI dive, that was from so far back. The Dutchman got the grip between his teeth to try and gain on the Ferrari, probably frustrated at being miles away from the race lead. Now, it's another safety car, though. That's going to be another spanner in the works, and it's the reigning champion, Lando Norris, out of this race, and he's caused a huge pile-up, and it's enough for the FIA to throw a red flag. So it's not two safety cars, it's one safety car and one red flag in this race. This season's been very chaotic for yellow conditions, I must say. And incidents is, you know, things have been getting closer and closer with everyone. So it's only natural maybe that because everyone's fighting for every single little tenth, things get a bit overboiled and, you know, overstepped. But in terms of our tyre, I think we go to hards. The game is trying to convince me that we can't go to the end on hards. I just don't believe that. I think we can definitely go to the end on hards here. I mean, it's trying to tell me we're going to do like a 9-8 lap stint on mediums. That's just no. I think we can go hard. So I'm gonna just set it as much as we can to go on hards. What are others going to do? Because remember, others were on hards already. So are they going to stay on that set of hards? Are they now going to go to mediums? I feel like if anyone goes mediums here, they're going to have to come in again. I think you can get to the end on hards from here, but not mediums. Surely not. So on the restart here, we're in P1. Ocon's the driver next to us, who's now fully got into this. So the championship leader is now fighting for the lead, maybe. We're on hards, and the rest are all on mediums. So they've switched from hards before the red flag to now mediums. Surely they all have to come in again. So this is a bit of a weird stint off the restart. I'm leading the way. We've kept the lead. Ocon actually has been done by Verstappen. Verstappen's been wanting to make that move ever since the round of pit stops happened. So Verstappen's really hungry to get back into the lead. And honestly, even if he does, will it matter that much? If anyone overtakes me, will it matter? Because I think we've got the massive strategy advantage. We're still going to fight this, of course, because the more we can fight here, the more gap it will give us when they make their pit stop. But Verstappen takes the lead, but look at the bottom right. I've still got that fuel icon, so I'm technically still underfueled. 14 laps in, and we've still not saved enough fuel, but in a good way, that our car still has that advantage probably over the guys around us, and we can make that repass hopefully on Verstappen as Antonelli behind gets a move on and is trying to get up to third place. It's 3 wide nearly between him, Colapinto and Ocon. Colapinto out of nowhere is fighting for third place. The Red Bull has recovered from outside the top 10 as we just about squeeze through past the Dutchman. He hardly gives us any room to work with. There was an inch between us and the grass, but we've stayed committed. We didn't flinch, and we've got the lead as Antonelli continues to squabble with Colapinto. Gasly also is in P8, so what a recovery drive this is from the two Red Bull Fords. They're both into the top 10, and it's the opposite for the Williams Porsche. Very quietly, we didn't see when this happened, but Tsunoda's out. I think he got caught up in that pile-up with Norris that caused the red flag. So Tsunoda's out. So Williams Porsche's fortunes went from really, really great to again in the mud, and is kind of looking a bit more like it did at the start of the season for Tsunoda, and for Aaron as well. He's out the point. So Williams Porsche really having a roller coaster of the season, lows to highs to lows again, as we continue to swap with Verstappen. Colapinto now looks to be firmly in third place. So really great recovery from the Argentinian as Verstappen comes through on the inside. We give him the squeeze, and actually we're going to give him such a squeeze that I think Colapinto just went right round the outside of him. Yep, there you go in the background. Colapinto second. Colapinto up to second. Antonelli up to third. What's happened to Verstappen? Verstappen is slow. He's down to fourth place. I don't think he's got an end plate. I think he got damage off Colapinto and he's got no end plate. on the left-hand side of his car. Unbelievable. Another twist in the tail as Antonelli could get up into second place. It's 3 wide. Verstappen, desperate dive down the inside. If his front wing wasn't broken then, it definitely is now. Let's take a closer look. Yeah, it's done. It's done. That front left end plate is off, and I think if it wasn't off before, it definitely is off now because of that 3 wide pinch, and that was desperation from Max there on the inside of Colapinto whilst he was fighting Antonelli, and Antonelli now in second place. We're 1-2 for aarava Jaguar Racing here in this race, and well, you know what, I've got such an advantage on this tyre choice we've made. We've now saved the fuel as well. Look at the bottom right. I'll wave Antonelli by. There's no need to fight Kimi because, well and truly, hopefully I'm not getting too cocky here ahead of time, but I don't think he's in our race. I don't think any of these guys are in our race. I think we have picked this so perfectly in terms of a tyre strategy that I think we are set to win this Grand Prix, mark my words, as we go a little bit defensive to fight Colapinto, not for our benefit, for Antonelli's benefit, because if I can fight Colapinto enough, we can give Antonelli breathing room, and even when he and others make pit stops, hopefully Antonelli comes out in second place and we can get a 1-2 for the team. That would be quite amazing. As what was that? What was that? Hang on a minute. That was maybe the first flash of a big mistake and an error with our driving in our car today. Rear locked. Absolutely, and that almost looked like the Red Bull of earlier this season in 2025 there. Really a nightmare to try and turn into that right-hander. We get back into second place ultimately, but let's hope we don't do that again towards the end of the race on worn tyres, because otherwise that will be a bit of a worry and a mess here as we watch Gasly. Oh, Gasly spun it! The Frenchman's round! Oh, what on earth? He drifted it into turn 1. I was about to say, recovering well like his teammate, up to P6. He spins it, and now the 2 Ferraris are through. They're fighting the Honda, and oh, Albon nearly trips up on Ocon. The 2 Ferraris fighting each other far too much. Remember, Ocon was on the front row on the red flag restart, so Ferrari also having a little bit of a slower second phase of this Grand Prix as Antonelli is in, and so we're into first place again. Colapinto stays out and Sainz does, but they'll come in eventually, so we will be the only driver way out on our own in the lead of this race. You know, what's that? Not like 8 seconds ahead of Antonelli, who's just now overtaken Ocon. So Antonelli is in second. It's a 1-2 for the team. But who's going to be behind in third place? It's 3 wide between Marty, Verstappen and Sainz. And the Spaniard is the one that gets around the outside of both of them. We've not really seen Carlos this entire race, but all of a sudden the Mercedes driver is in third place. But look at this 4-way scrap as Verstappen goes round the outside with damage still. So Verstappen's made the pit stop and he's not chosen to change that front wing. That's interesting. I mean, to be fair, on the fresher hards, right now he's got the pace to fight Sainz for third. So there's still maybe a podium left for the Dutchman, but it's Sainz versus Verstappen, Colapinto versus Marty, and no, sorry, it's now Colapinto versus Verstappen, because even though he looked great initially, he's now struggling with that front wing damage. That's probably going to end up being a mistake for McLaren not to change that front wing, as Colapinto now trying to get back down the inside, can't quite do it. He's now having to fight Marty, and Marty's doing a great job in that pink BWT. Has to be kind of in there in the mixer with some big names, some big teams. Albon behind as well. Ocon, the championship leader, remember, fighting Stroll for 10th place. Eventually, lap 28, Colapinto's pulled away from Verstappen, so it's Sainz firmly in third, Colapinto firmly in fourth, and Verstappen is now the one defending for 5th place. So he is just going slowly but surely backwards in this race. McLaren's race, his race, is unraveling here. And I think it's really because of that front wing decision to not change it, and ultimately also Verstappen being, getting that damage in the first place, as he's doing really well to that right-hander. That seems to be his favourite corner today, making some dives back, but Marty's got him. The Haas has got him for 5th place, and now Albon is trying to maybe get on him. Verstappen again defies me and tries to come back at Marty, but I think, honestly, by the end of the race, 7 laps to go, I could see Albon, Lawson and Ocon all clearing Verstappen, to be honest. And here goes Albon in this prophecy of mine. Starting off, it's 3 wide again into turn 1. My word. How many 3 wides have we had into turn 1 of Austria, of all places? Very unorthodox place to make it 3 wide. Just showing how competitive things have been in this race so far, with everyone fighting for top 10 positions. Gasly, Stroll I saw fighting for 10th place behind, and Verstappen's coming in now. Verstappen has admitted defeat. He's made a mistake not making that front wing change, and now it's going to be back-to-back 0 points, I think, for Verstappen, because I think he didn't score anything in Montreal, and he will score nothing here around the Red Bull Ring. That is big for him. That's a bitter blow for his championship. I mean, it's still quite early days. There's still plenty of time to come back, but you feel like you think about these races come the end of the season. These sort of races could decide the championship come the year end, as onto the last lap. Marty's been doing a great job for Haas in 5th place, but Lawson in the Honda may just come ruin it. We've not really seen the best of Honda. We've not seen them anywhere near as good as they were last season, but it's a little bit of glimmer of hope for Honda to get P5 there. Ocon P7 won't feel amazing for the man who just won last race, but honestly, as long as Ferrari just stay consistent in the points, this is very good for them. Although Albon just overtook Ocon, so that's a bit controversial. Albon, the one getting ahead of the championship leader going into this race, but there may be a new one coming out of it as we go through the final corners, and it's been a dominant last stint. Even with the high tyre wear, we can take the mickey, we can weave around. It's a win.
Oh, you worked hard for that one. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks.
And obviously, Oscar Piastri's radio, as it would be in real life, subdued, but cool, calm, collected. We've got a win for him, finally, in this season.
He has left the field in his dust. Oscar Piastri takes the win.
And you can see what it means for the driver. Such relief after carrying all the stresses of this championship fight with the constructors being so closely fought this season. You now can embrace the team, enjoy this moment. Job well done.
Striding out to take the acclaim of the crowd and their team below are podium finishers. And it's special for Piastri back on the top step.
It's a pretty big 1-2. It's a very big 1-2, actually. Very low-key one, really. And with that, Antonelli takes the lead, but only 6 points ahead of Ocon, just showing how good Ocon has been, actually, in this season. Oscar up to 3rd place. With 1 win, he catapults himself, I think from like 7th, wasn't it, to 3rd. Just showing how poor maybe Verstappen and the 2 Red Bulls were in this race in the end of it. Because even though Red Bull looked like they made a great recovery initially, eventually they actually fell away in this race again. So it's all to play for, really. You just can't really tell. And that's a different winner again in the season. But really, it's a case of, it comes back to, you just have to try and be consistent. And we haven't been, and neither has anyone else, really. So it's really all up in the air and all to play for. Guys, if you have enjoyed the episode, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.